please just provide some background on the human trafficking situation in McLennan County and what your department has been doing to counter it?
Well, when we got involved in it the first time in 2014, we didn't know what we were getting into. We never had done it before, and I'd only been with the sheriff's office a little over a year. We found out that it was absolutely rampant in McLennan County. Massage parlors all over the place, trafficking people from other countries, mainly Asians. Also victims from Mexico. So we concentrated on our local area here first, and then we branched out into other parts of the state. And then we've been requested to assist police departments all over the United States, Washington, D.C., Boston, L.A., Las Vegas, New York. And recently, our officers with human trafficking have gone into Mongolia, training Mongolian police to not arrest the females. Don't victimize the women twice. Go after the low-down traffickers, the scumbags that are pimping these poor women out, and so target them. So we spent several weeks in Mongolia, our guy did. Then we were requested to go to Poland to assist in identifying traffickers that were grabbing the Ukrainian women and kids as they were coming across the Polish border, fleeing Ukraine when the Russians attacked. We also went into Moldova back in, I believe, June, and were there for a couple of weeks working with Interpol, doing the same thing, helping the police identify traffickers, helping them arrest the traffickers and so forth. So we've been involved with fighting human trafficking really all over the world. And in another 2 or 3 weeks, our guys will be going to Kurdistan in Iraq. We've been requested to go there. So we don't go anywhere that we're not requested to help. So word got out that we know what we're doing, that our guys are simply the best of the best at what they're doing. And so we don't care where it is. If people reach out for help, no matter what kind of help they want, we try to always go to wherever they are and help them.
That's incredible to me. So you said that it was in 2014 that your department first became aware of this occurring in McLennan County. What was it that brought it to your attention, and that's apparently not coming to the attention of so many other parts of the country?
Well, one of my detectives, Joe Scaramucci, just came to me and said, what do you think about going on the internet posing as underage kids, underage girls, 15 or 16 years old, looking for action, and putting it out there and just see what kind of response we get? And I said, absolutely, let's try it. So the first 12 hours that we were up on the internet, we had over 100 applicants, people wanting to get with these kids for sex. So we arrested 20 of the worst ones that we saw. So I was kind of overwhelmed by that, that we got 20. And so it went kind of nationwide. The media started calling, and I made a comment to the San Antonio News. I said it was like every kind of weird sicko came out of the woodwork. So it went nationwide, headlines all over the place, New York and Chicago. Texas sheriff arrests 20 weird sickos. So if you just Google weird sickos, all these people that we've arrested pop up. 3 months later, we did another sting. We got 29, then the next sting, 44, then 50. And we even got up to where we were getting 70 or 75 people each sting, the better we got at it. So we've arrested hundreds and hundreds of these sex buyers and sex offenders of all kinds over the period of the last 8 years.
That's incredible. And so the reason we highlighted you in our Rising Lone Stars publications back, I think in April and May, was both for your work, like you mentioned, in Poland, as well as your more local work with the organization Unbound in Waco. To me, that speaks to the fact that countering human trafficking, it's not just the law enforcement. There's not just a law enforcement role. There's a whole community role involved. You're working with so many different organizations. You're working with uh, groups outside of McLenon County, outside of the United States. Can you tell me a little bit about what that's like?
Well, shortly after we got involved in it, I was approached by Susan Peters with Unbound, and she wanted to know if we would team up with them. And I said, absolutely, anything we can do to strengthen this effort. And Unbound is a big part of this effort because law enforcement can rescue these women, but we can't save them. Unbound saves them. We get the women out of this horrible situation that they're in. We bring them to the sheriff's office, and then Unbound takes them from there to try to get them out of this horrible lifestyle that most of them have been forced into. So Unbound was with our guy Scaramucci in Mongolia and some of these other places. So Unbound is a very, very important part of this effort because it's twofold. We need to rescue these people, but they need to be taken and saved where they don't get back in this, and they need to be protected from these pimps and traffickers that have been doing this to them. And Unbound is so good that when we rescue the Asian women, we don't speak Mandarin. They provide Mandarin interpreters, usually from Baylor University, to come in and interview these ladies that we have just rescued. So Unbound is a critical component of this effort, and I can't say enough nice things about them. Susan Peters and her team are just over the top. They're simply the best.
You're reminding me of a conversation I had with the Georgetown chief of police not too long ago, where we were talking about homelessness in Georgetown. And he was saying, police aren't the answer to every part of an issue. They play a really important role, but at the end of the day, they can't fix everything that's happening with any particular area. And it's just like what you're saying here. The sheriff's department has a critical role in countering this, but they aren't the entire solution. You have to work with groups like Unbound to go beyond rescuing and actually save these people.
That is so true.
Pivoting slightly from discussing human trafficking, sheriffs are interesting in Texas to me because they're not just a law enforcement entity. They also have a political role because they're elected and they have to run on party lines. What does it mean to you to not just be a law keeper, but to also be a politician and to be elected by McLennan County?
Well, I put in 32 and a half years with the United States Marshal Service. And the government hired me as a U.S. Marshal, U.S. Department of Justice. But the people hire the sheriff, and the sheriff is the people's voice in law enforcement. The people basically hire the sheriff. They hired me. And so I strive every day to do the best job that I possibly can for the people that put their trust in me. And so by being a political figure and being elected, you have a tremendous amount of responsibility to serve the people that put you in this position or put me in this position. And I think about that every single day. And so our whole department is out there every day serving the public. And that's what I drill into them. The public hired us, and we appreciate that so much.
Now, we have three quick questions we like to ask after we get through all of our specific questions. So we ask everybody these same three questions, and you can just answer anything you choose to. It doesn't have to be an eloquent response. It can interpret it however way you want. So the first question is, what do you see as being the biggest challenge that the state of Texas faces right now?
Well, obviously, the biggest challenge that Texas faces is the open borders. It's horrible. The battle rages on down there. It doesn't have to be that way. We just 2 weeks ago, I sent two of my pilots with a helicopter to the border to the Zapata County Sheriff down there. And when they got there, Zapata County didn't even have jet fuel for our helicopter. So they had to fly to Laredo and refuel, and all the way back, almost didn't make it. And so then I had to send another deputy to the border with a load of jet fuel to help the border sheriff. And they have their back to the wall. It is almost a losing battle. Border Patrol, DPS, the sheriffs down there doing the very best they can to fight the human trafficking and the illegal immigration that we have going on. Our guys with a helicopter were patrolling the border. They got in pursuits. They got involved in some anti-drug activity. They located a body in the river that was really sad. This guy had apparently been tortured very badly. He had a cinder block tied around him. He had been stabbed. It looked like he had been tortured with a blowtorch. And so they were able to recover the body, but our guys located it from the air, from the helicopter. And so it's a battle zone down there. And to me, that is the biggest threat facing this state right now, are these open borders, because people are coming in from all over the world. They're coming in from Asia, they're coming in from the Middle East, they're coming in from South America, and a lot of them are gang members, criminals of all kinds, and they're committing more crimes once they get over here. And there's some good people coming across, but there's a lot of bad ones. And thanks to current administration, the border's open.
So with that in mind, what do you think is the biggest challenge facing the entire country versus just Texas?
Well, I think that's a nationwide crisis right there, not just Texas. These people are coming through, they're going up north. They had gang members brutally murdered two little high school girls. I think they were in the 9th grade, stabbed them and used machetes on them. And they were illegal gang members from Mexico that had come across. This is a problem for the whole nation, not just Texas. And so the sooner that it's recognized as a national problem, and hopefully people will, the better off that we're going to be, and the harder that we need to fight this. The police, the sheriffs, DPS, and Border Patrol are overwhelmed by the tens of thousands of these migrants coming across the border every week.
So the last question is a bit of a departure from that, but if you had any advice for the Texas legislature, things that you think should be immediately addressed, and it can be the border, what would you tell them?
First of all, do everything you can to secure the border, even if we have to put funds to finish the wall. That was working. And then once that was stopped, here came the hundreds of thousands. I think over 2 million have come over now in the last year and a half or 2 years. And so that is paramount right there. Texas still has a lot of crime, even though police are fighting it as hard as they can. We're very lucky here in the state of Texas because for the most part, our good citizens back up law enforcement. It's not like up north or California, some of these places that are so far to the left that the police don't have backing from the citizens and the politicians. They're out there on a limb by themselves. I don't know how some of these places are doing it, some of the law enforcement there, because it would be a scary situation to work under those conditions.